Good evening and welcome to the September, excuse me.
Quiet, please.
Excuse me.
Quiet. Thanks.
Good evening and welcome to the September 3rd council meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Bowles.
Present.
Councilor Sims.
Present.
Councilor Wildacross.
Present.
Councilor Pratt.
Present.
Councilor Gagnon.
Present.
Councilor Lavoy.
Present.
Councilor Siegel.
Present.
And now the acceptance of the minutes of the August 6th regular town council meeting and the August 6th special town council meeting. Is there a motion? Moved by Councilor Gagnon, second by Councilor Wildacross. Any comments?
Madam Chair, the order that was passed for the bonding referendum had the "be it further ordered" in the wrong section, and I'd request it to be moved.
Just in the wrong area, or it's?
So on page, and I'll show the clerk here.
Yep.
So you have it, "be it further ordered" up here, and it should be down here.
But it's not this.
Yeah, so as if you look up here, be it further, two school committees.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
I'll leave that for you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, is there a second or change to amend the minute? Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of amending? 7 yeas.
Good catch.
Literally
Vote on the
right.
whole item.
Yeah.
All those in favor of the amended item? 7 yeas. All right, now we're going to do open public communication. This is a time to talk about an item that is not on the agenda tonight. So if anyone wants to speak, we do 3 minutes. State your name and where you're from, just as long as it's something that's not on the agenda.
Ken Curtis, 118 South Street, a 53-year taxpayer. I have, good evening, excuse me. I know that the different departments in town, all of them are strongly encouraged to keep the percentage down of their increase each year. I would propose something radical. How about next year that all departments in town get a 10% increase for 1 year? And the school department be strongly encouraged to keep their increase at around 3%. Something to think about. I know that the fire department would love to have a 10% increase. All departments, I know Terry Deering would probably love to buy some new equipment. So this is something to think about. I, just on a whim, I happened to go in online and check to see what a house in Worcester, Massachusetts would cost. And lo and behold, I found one that was built in 1890, the same year my house was built. And believe it or not, the taxes are the same. Massachusetts is the same as Maine. So why are people in Massachusetts moving up to Maine? Maybe we should be moving to Massachusetts. Thoughts? I had one thing. Oh, my brain just shut off. All right. All right. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Kathy Hamblin, Libby Avenue. As I've shared at earlier meetings, there are a group of citizens who have come together to share their concerns about the Brickyard Quarry after learning that the Shaw's Brothers Quarry is intending to seek to expand on Route 237, doubling its size. As members of this group have gathered information from other neighboring citizens, we've learned that these concerns have been ongoing prior to the inception of the quarry. with many voicing said concerns to the Town Council and the Brickyard for years with little effect. Recently, the Town Council voted for the Ordinance Committee to consider the request to expand the quarry, despite the many residents who have shared their concerns over the past few months and years. My hope is that the committee will take into consideration that there are many questions from residents about the safety of the quarry brickyard that remain unanswered to us at this time. We have learned that the town office does not have anyone on staff that is a quarry expert, nor do they contract with an expert. This is highly concerning given the potential dangers of crystalline silica dust, as well as other concerns that have been shared by citizens, such as wear and tear in homes and well systems from regular blasting and the noise complaints due to early morning business. While I do know the Town Council must balance the needs of our businesses, which are highly important assets to our town, that balance should not outweigh their responsibility to the safety of our residents. Shaw Brothers is a strong local business. We are not trying to close them down or harm them in any way. As I stated before, our friends and family work there. But we do want to make sure that they are being safe. Unfortunately, we have neighbors that are sharing their stories of the red dust that billows down their driveway all summer, the smell of asphalt coming through their windows all night, the explosions that occur and shake our houses so hard it sounds and feels like a car crashed through a wall. We have pictures of dust blowing high off the quarry piles, dust that carries into all living areas and that we are all exposed to, with those living nearby always feeling exposed. I beg that our Town Council not forget that they are representing the little people. I say little people as we feel small, unheard, and unimportant. Neighbors to a quarry that has brushed aside concerns shared with them time and time again. Please consider taking the time to work with your citizens on the quarry so that we can explore these concerns and determine if there are any needs to work through to keep our citizens safe and that will continue to allow a business to thrive. Please take the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Michelle Littlefield, 15 Burton Drive. I'm hoping this is the right place to talk about school budget. I don't see it as an official item. So I first have to say I'm speaking as an individual taxpayer, not a member of the school. On behalf of the school committee, I am a member of the school committee. And in the last year, I've been spending a lot of time doing some fiscal analysis on our public budget documents. And I just want to share some information that I think as a taxpayer would be helpful in making decisions if I were in your shoes. And I also want to just say, caveat, these are my calculations based on public documents, so I'm not an expert in municipal budgeting. But my objective as I've done this analysis was to set out kind of understanding the school budget as a part of a whole, and kind of also understanding the question of why is the school coming back for more money after just receiving an increase in our operating budget. If you look at the school operating budget, when we look at the referendum dollars approved in 2014, that number represented 59.38% of all municipal expenditures. If you look at the financial report under the last 10 years of governmental funds expenditure lines, in 2023, that operating budget represented 53.46. That's a loss of 6% of that total pie of expenditure funding. Meanwhile, school enrollment was going up at about 0.5% each year, a difference of about 100 students. Doing a similar analysis with our school operating budget lines, one of the slowest to grow is the operating and maintenance, so it's the third lowest, with only transportation and debt service falling kind of underneath it. So there's a narrative here in Gorham, in some pockets of taxpayers, that the schools are overspending or irresponsibly spending, and I share this data just to highlight the flaws in that way of thinking. Contrary, I think the data will actually show that we've been deprioritizing school funding for other departments' funding. The cumulative loss of this gap in expenditure funding, if you add it up, is over $18 million. So skimming off the top, deprioritizing, it lands us squarely here with this request for a bond. So to me, it also explains, this data shows why it's hard for me to sit in meetings where I hear that we had a $4 million unanticipated revenue surplus in 2023, and why our unassigned fund balance is over 1.5 times the size it should be, 12.5% versus 8.5% that the policy states it should be. So I know there's a line out the door already for the funding that we have, but the taxpayers need to understand the schools don't even get to be in line for that funding. So we come to the taxpayers, we have the EPS funding formula, and we have this bond. So these capital projects that we have on our list are very much needed and long overdue. And I very much appreciate all of your thought that goes into the prioritization of those and your collaboration in working with the school so we can start improving the situation that we have here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, seeing no one else, we will close open public communication and we'll go to counselor communications, and I'll start with Counselor Sims.
None today.
Okay. Counselor Siegel, go ahead.
Thank you. The Ordinance Committee met on August 22nd. We discussed, excuse me. Thank you. We discussed parking ordinances as we continue to tackle that at a very large scale across the entire town. Parking requirements. We discussed affordable housing, and that seems to be reaching a consensus point, which is good at the committee level. We talked about road standards, which haven't been updated in quite some time. And we will continue to discuss these things, as well as clustered wastewater systems and the fire suppression ordinance. The next ordinance committee meeting is September 26th at 10 a.m. in conference room A. That's September 26th at 10 a.m. And I can also, just so you know, the contract zone for the quarry will not be on the agenda for the September meeting as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor LaVoy?
All I have is that the Finance Committee will be meeting, having their next meeting next Tuesday on the 10th at 5:30 in Conference Room A.
Thank you. Counselor Pratt?
I just want to remind everybody, the blood banks are in short supply, and by short supply, I mean they're pretty much empty right now. Please donate blood, donate blood, donate blood. It could save a life. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Wilder-Cross?
Yes, thank you. GPCOG meeting will be actually next week, so I don't have anything to report on that tonight. I did meet with the Gorham Village Alliance, though, and just to remind everyone that Art on South will be held this coming Saturday on the Purple Street Common. I think it's going to run from 10 to 2. There are 25 artisans that have signed up for exhibiting and selling, and there'll be music and face painting and food and all kinds of good things. And I checked the weather is supposed to be delightful, so come on out for that. I just wanted to mention that I did attend the ribbon cutting of the new playground at Narragansett School. If you folks out there have little kids, I urge you to get over there. It's a wonderful play yard, and it's extraordinary. Wonderful. I wanted to say thank you to all the people involved in getting that done. We really appreciate it. Now, I guess my question is, can we get that same high-quality playground for Roby Park at some point? Just saying. That's it.
All right. Counselor Gagnon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So our Sustainability Committee met last week. We're starting to get to the good stuff, where we finally have gone through many documents of information. The next meeting will happen in 2 weeks, I believe. Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 weeks? And we'll start going over the information that we've obtained and start applying it to problem solving for how we can get Gorham more sustainable in its budgeting process. The SIPS committee, capital improvements, met this past month. Item 2023-8-9 is a product of our continued master planning work, and this one involves the master plan for Public Works. So that was a very eventful and well-done meeting. So that's it.
I'm going to use my counselor comment time tonight to invite some of the members of the Reed Allen Foundation to come up and speak about the foundation and their upcoming events.
Thank you, Councilor Phillips. My name is Mark Curtis, current president of the Reed Allen Foundation. Really appreciate the time. We have 2 events coming up. One is an annual event. It's the casino night event, which happens at Junction Bowl right here in town, 6 to 10 on November 2nd. There are tickets and sponsorships available. There are people at the table that have attended and sponsored, and we thank you very much, Rob LaVoy. And we fully expect that your entire family will be there this event, Rob. Yes, because you're fun to have, but your wife is really enjoyable at those events. So, and that's a shout out because we really appreciate that. And the second, we have an event coming up, which is a new event to us, which is September 22nd at the homecoming for the football game. At halftime, we're going to do a drop and work on 28th. I better get that straight on my paperwork then. Okay, we're going to need to adjust the paperwork slightly. I'm glad Mr. Spear is here because he's been working with us. And shout out to Ed Smith and the whole school athletic facility for facilitating that, and the fire department because we're going to drop golf balls from a ladder truck. It's going to be a random event, $25 a ball. You can win $1,000 cash that night, just like that. There are sponsorships available for that. All of that, it's all fun, it's all games, it's all there, but the truth is that the Reed Allen Community Fund exists because of Angelo, and Angelo is the one that started it. I know a lot of people in this room, if you don't know, I mean, obviously Angelo Soteropoulos, Gorham House of Pizza, how could you not know who he is, right? And rather than take any of that, I'm gonna let Angelo step up for just a second and tell you anything you wanna know about why it exists, and why we're here and all the good things we do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everybody. My name is Enzo Soteropoulos, and I'm working for the Gorham House of Pizza. The story behind the Reed Allen Foundation, I'm going to do the blaming game tonight. I'm going to point fingers. It started April 19th of 2012, the day after the fire took place. Thanking the fire chief then, Kenny Fickett, and present now officially the fire chief, I thank him for saving the building. And he said to me, we didn't. We don't understand how this building stands. If anybody saved your building, it was an angel from above, and that's John Reed. And Dana Allen was there, right above his photo there. I didn't thought much about it until later. Bunch of great people, which is, I don't know, Al Bean, Lisa Allen, Becky Winslow, Mark. I don't want to leave anybody out. They organized an event for me that brought me, I don't want to cry for this, to another level of humbleness and thankfulness. And that's when I thought, why didn't I do something to pay forward back to our community? And I brought it up, and let me tell you, I'll be surrounded, the foundation will be surrounded with their amazing people. Mark, Pass, we can find all the names, I'm not going to say it, on reedallen.org or Reed Allen Community Foundation, all the names that they're part of it. And they're working so hard. It's local, it's in a community. We handle the money with respect and responsibility. They're working hard to raise money, and we have done a lot of good things since we get it going off the ground. So for all of you here, the people at home, if you're watching us, no donation is too small. It goes 100% to people of Gorham, whether it's be fire or cancer. We're there for them to give them a lift. Thank you all, and
Thank you,
appreciate
Angelo.
it.
Angelo, one more thing. Wait, just one more thing while you're up here. We actually brought you here to talk about the Reed Allen Foundation, but also we wanted to give you a Community Appreciation Award in recognition of your love and support for all of Gorham, community events, sports teams, and most of all the people. In appreciation for your friendly face, your smile, and kind words that you share with everyone you meet. In recognition of your tremendous generosity and your huge heart. And in appreciation for your charitable spirit, your belief in humanity, and for making Gorham such a special place to live in. So
you are going to make me cry, aren't you? Quickly, 43 and a half years ago, I was lost. I didn't even know where Gorham was, okay? And here I am. This community it's a great community. I feel blessed and very lucky to be here in this town, and great people running the show. And I don't know what else to say, but thank you. I'm grateful, and appreciate all of you. Thank you.
All right, we'll let people. And then we'll move on to the town manager's report. Follow that up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's a losing battle every time. Two quick items this evening in the interest of time. Just so the community is aware of it, we will be starting construction through a third-party vendor on installation of the remaining pedestrian lights on South Street. That'll be taking place probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm looking for Terry to give me a nod. I think it's, yep, I got a thumbs up. Next 2 or 3 weeks on South Street. So you'll see some construction, basically installation of partially grant-funded lighting that will match the existing lights that we just, Public Works just installed. And speaking of Public Works, I want to briefly thank them for installing grant-funded stormwater control systems in the municipal center parking lot, so that they essentially installed these big holes that catch all the stormwater. That's what they are. They're not meant to catch vehicles. Please don't drive into them. And it's part of our ongoing stormwater compliance program in the town of Gorham. So thank you to them for doing the work with the grant money. That's all I have this evening.
All right, and we'll move on to the school committee report. Chair Perkins.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Perkins. I'm serving as the chair of the school committee. So I gave you each a copy of my report. We're off to a great start with school. First opening week last week, including open houses at all 5 schools. Our kindergarten screening was completed last week. Placements have been made, and those kindergartners will be starting school tomorrow. Fall sports have started, and game schedules can be found on our website. Hard to believe games are already starting up. We are starting off the school year short on bus drivers once again. If you know of anyone interested, we do have a pay to while you learn program. Have them reach out to Norm Justice. Also wanted to direct your attention to our new school website, same address, gorhamschools.org. This was a no-cost transition to a new website that has all of our existing information, but also features live news feeds, updated events, and direct links to our social media pages. Moving on to some facilities notes, the high school HVAC system work is mostly completed with just a few small follow-up items. Our classroom cooling systems are now fully functional, and students and staff are thankful for classroom temperatures that are conducive to learning. The final modular classroom expansion at Narragansett was completed on time, and our students were able to start off the school year in their new classrooms. And as was mentioned previously, thank you to everyone who attended the ribbon cutting ceremony last week for the pre-K playground at Narragansett. And a reminder that all school playgrounds are open to the public when schools aren't operating. These are a great resource for our community. One of the counselors already spoke to the Fiscal Sustainability Committee, so I won't belabor that point. We do encourage the public to follow along with this important work on the school and town's website, including links to all meeting recordings. And finally, a note on our schedule. Our regular meeting is on the second Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock here in council chambers. And our workshop meetings are on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock, usually in conference room B upstairs. But for the next 5 months, we're going to be rotating through each of our 5 schools in turn. So it's a great opportunity for members of the public to attend these meetings and to see the schools at the same time. The full schedule with locations is on the district's website. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Chair Perkins? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what is the driver for the bus shortage still? We just don't have enough people, or?
Correct.
We're not recruiting enough, or?
No, we're trying every recruitment method we can. We fill up at times, and then folks are out on leave or retire or whatnot. So yeah, we are finding people. We're getting them trained on the road, but then other folks are leaving.
So. Thanks.
Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing number 1 on item 2024-9-2, Public hearing to hear comment on a proposal to issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Chris Terrison, Therapy Thieves LLC, 17A Gorham Industrial Parkway, property owned by Dave Cowan, administrator sponsored.
All right, public hearing number 1 is now open. If anyone would like to speak on this item, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed.
Proposed order 24-117, order that the town council issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Chris Terrison, Therapy Thieves LLC, 17A Gorham Industrial Parkway, property owned by Dave Cowan.
Is there a motion? Moved by Councilor Lavoy, second by Councilor Pratt. All right, any discussion on this item? We have all the documentation in front of us. Yep.
Chair Phillips, I notice this motion and the next one, are they owned by the same person? Because then there's a typo on one of them.
Property is owned by the same
The property is owned by the same person.
Okay, so, but they're spelled differently.
O-A-N and E-N, yes. I believe it's,
Can we, which one is?
I'll have to look at the
correct?
application.
It's right here.
Are they right there?
Yep. So it's an A, right?
Yeah, unless the other guy put the E.
Looks like it's
No, it's an A. Yep,
It's an
it
A.
looks like an A. Yep.
And so, do we need to?
I don't think we
fix-
need to amend it. She can change it in the,
Okay.
yep. All right. All those in favor? 7 yeas.
Public hearing number 2 on item 2024-9-3. Public hearing to hear comment on a proposal to issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Alexis Cantera, XOCC LLC at 5 Little Wing Lane, Unit A, property owned by Dave Cowan, administrator sponsored.
All right, public hearing number 2 is now open. Anyone who would like to speak on this item, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, public hearing's closed.
Proposed order 24-118, ordered that the town council issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Alexis Cantera, XOCC LLC, 5 Little Wing Lane, Unit A, property owned by Dave Cowan.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilor Lavoy. Is there a second? By Councilor Sims. All right, any discussion on this item? Councilor Gagnon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the location of this one is off of New Portland Road. Is that still in the allowable area for this type of business?
Yep.
It's industrial right there.
Yep.
Is it still industrial right there?
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions.
All right. All right, all those in favor? 7 yeas.
Public hearing number 3 on item 2024-9-4. Public hearing to hear comments on a proposal to issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Tim Nickerson, Deep Sun LLC, 5 Lawrence Drive, property owned by Bob Pearson, administrator sponsored.
All right, public hearing number 3 is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on this item, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, the public hearing's closed.
Proposed order 24-119, order that the town council issue a renewal medical marijuana license to Tim Nickerson, Deep Sun LLC, 5 Lawrence Drive, property owned by Bob Pearson.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilor Lavoy. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Sims. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? 7 yeas.
Item 2024-9-5, action regarding the November 5th, 2024 annual municipal election, administrator sponsored. Proposed order 24-120, order that the town council authorize the town clerk to issue the warrant for the November 5th, 2024 annual municipal election. And be it further ordered that the polls be open from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. And be it further ordered that the town council appoints the following persons for the designated voting districts, and if any of the following should fail to serve, the town council hereby authorizes the town clerk to appoint substitutes. District 1-1, Susan Emerson Warden, Laurel Smith Ward Clerk. District 1-2, Catherine Corbett Warden, Marie Plummer Ward Clerk. District 2, Carol Wyman Warden, Martha Tall Ward Clerk. Central, Kim Getchell Warden, Paula Nystrom Ward Clerk. Be it further ordered that the registrar of voters be in session during the hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 29th, 2024, through Thursday, October 31st, 2024, and Monday, November 4th, 2024. And be it further ordered that the town clerk be authorized to process absentee ballots on Tuesday, October 29th, through Tuesday, November 5th, starting at 8 a.m. each day.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Pratt, second. Councilor Wilder Cross. It's pretty straightforward. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? 7 yeas.
Item 2024-9-6, action to reconsider item 2024-8-4 from the August 6, 2024 regular town council meeting. Action to consider a bond request for the Gorham School Department. Councilor Wilder Cross sponsored. Proposed order 24-121, ordered that the town council reconsider item 2024-8-4.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilor Lavoy. Before we have any discussion, I want the town manager just to explain the process of reconsideration.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this item that you are currently voting on that has a motion and a second, if you vote this through, that is a reconsideration of your original item 2024-8-4 from your prior meeting. So if this motion passes, you will vote on the original item from that meeting, from the August meeting, like it was brand new. And then you would need to move that item forward again and/or alter it like you did the last meeting. You need a motion and a second on the original item, if that makes sense. So you're voting to reconsider. If this passes, then you vote on the original item like you normally would.
Thank you. Councilor Wilder Cross?
Yes, thank you. I asked to reconsider our vote from our last meeting because I believe we made a big mistake. Part of what we approved was to move the tennis courts, rather than putting them over at the middle school, to put them over at Roby Park. And I need to apologize to everyone because this kind of came across as maybe a good idea, and then when I realized what was happening, I realized this is so not a good idea. And it can't be done. As far as I'm concerned, we've approved, we as the council approved a wonderful master plan that took a couple of years to actually formalize. And so, no, we can't put 6 or 5, or we just can't do that. That would be taking up probably more than a third of the property over there. And that wasn't what the committee had in mind and what we had in mind when we all approved it. So I would like to start over again and take that off the table along with everything else that we voted on. So that was my reason for asking for this reconsideration.
All right. Councilor Lavoy, go ahead.
I also want to kind of apologize for my lack.
They're checking it out.
Yeah.
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Sucking it in from the outside.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
Go ahead.
having an episode.
We're not going to be burned out. Yeah. I have every intention on bringing up the Roby Park master plan, and for whatever reason I didn't. So I'm with Jenny. I don't think we should be putting it there. I think we should put it back at the middle school.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I'm in the same camp as Councilor Lavoy and Councilor Wilder Cross. We make mistakes sometimes. It happens.
All right. Go ahead, Councilor Gagnon.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Trying to problem solve, right, as people are looking at alternate locations to put it. I own it that I did offer up a similar use area, which was a basketball courts for tennis courts. I will not be in favor of moving it to the middle school strictly because the CHA study has it located as the place for the elementary school. It makes no sense to put a $3 million item where its location is not necessarily 100% placed. So to me, it's not a new issue. It's something we've tackled at the SIPS committee for the last 6 months. We've asked for it to be moved or reconsidered for different areas. The CHA study says where it is. We approved in July that the high school would be at the Narragansett Elementary School area. And so the only other place for the elementary school to go would be at the middle school. So we do not have any land currently otherwise, so this would be going against the CHA study. So I won't be supporting moving it there. I was just looking to save tennis courts.
All right, so we're discussing reconsidering the item. Any other comments? Go ahead, Counselor Sims.
I guess I just add that I thank the members of the public that chose to email us and share us their input after the decision. I was hopeful that the decision we made at the August meeting could be a creative alternative that might, somehow help get things that we need at a somewhat lower cost. And then it was made clear that the people that are most interested in the tennis courts, as well as the folks most interested in Roby Park, did not see what we proposed as a viable path forward. So I think it's important for us to listen to what the public has to say.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to the vote. All those in favor of reconsidering the item? All right, 6 yeas. All those opposed? 1 nay, Gagnon. All right, and so now we need a motion and a second on the original item because we're reconsidering it. So let me go back and see. The clerk can read the, sorry, the original item.
Item 2024-8-4, action to consider a bond request from the Gorham School Department. Councilor Phillips sponsored. Proposed order 24-106, moved by Councilor, we don't want to do that. Ordered that the town council, authorizes a capital expenditure and bonding of funds pursuant to section 901 of the Gorham Town Charter as followed. Project 1, Gorham High School cafeteria expansion and modular phase, additions, 6 classroom, 1 adult ed bathrooms and utility room, $9,034,000. Project 2, Narragansett HVAC, $460,575. Project 3, Village Parking repaving and access drive to White Birch Lane, projects 1 and 2 on the map, $1,627,451. Project 4, rebuild the tennis courts and move to the Gorham Middle School site, $2,541,250. Project 5, Gorham High School parking additions, repaving and traffic calming measures, $699,000. Project 6, Narragansett maintenance building, $400,000. Project 7, village parking expansion and Roby connector, projects 3 and 4 on the map, $1,762,214. And Project 8, Great Falls sidewalk replacement, $240,381. Total request, $16,764,871. Be it further ordered that the town council authorizes the town clerk to schedule a public hearing on the item before the November 5th, 2024 election.
Thank you. All right, so we need a motion on this item.
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
second by Councilor Wilder Cross. All right. I think we can just go right to Councilor discussion. I think you don't have anything to add, or?
No, Madam Chair, just a reminder, you're voting on the original item as a whole, as was presented. So if you want to modify it, you need to amend the original item.
So I guess to start, if we're to avoid the whole conversation back over again, where it seems like we're, to me, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, it seems like we're focused on tennis courts here, not the whole thing. I would like to motion up an amendment to keep item project 1 and project 2 as we spoke about at the previous meeting. I don't really know how to say this, you know what I mean, but to just have those 2 broken out again as we spoke about at the previous meeting. I could be wrong, maybe everybody's in disagreement with me here. No? Okay. So
you would like to make an amendment
I
to
would
have?
like to have just item 1 and 2.
As a question on the referendum?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would second that.
For some reason, the brain and the mouth aren't working at the same time tonight, so.
So do you get that? Okay.
All right.
All right, so second by Councilor Wilder Cross. Any discussion on the amendment?
Did we split? I don't remember us splitting 1 and 2 out. I remember us just
We're just starting over,
that's
so
brand
we're
new
starting
now.
over, so we're
Yeah.
not, yep.
Right.
So we're just,
Yeah. Okay.
Lee, can I have my minutes back so I can see?
oh,
Thank you.
So sorry, project 1 was Gorham high school cafeteria expansion, modular phase 1 additions, 6 classrooms, 1 adult ed, bathrooms, utility room, et cetera, $9,034,000. And then item project 2 was Narragansett HVAC, $460,575.
And so are you suggesting those be a separate?
No, what I'm suggesting is that we remove the other projects except for those out, excluding the tennis court discussion that we're about to have, basically.
So the tennis courts would remain alive for further
Alive, yes. I
discussion.
am not cutting the tennis courts out of this discussion.
Thank you
correct.
for
But what I'm
clarifying
trying to do is avoid us talking about all 9 projects again tonight after we did that
I would support that.
previously, even though it's a new discussion,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Discussion on having a question about just projects 1 and 2.
So discussions?
Yep. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I would like to add the $699,000 item, number 5, to that as well. From high school parking addition, repaving, and traffic calming measures.
All right, is there a second to adding project 5? All right, there's no second. So that fails. Back to discussing the amendment to just have projects 1 and 2. All right, no more
Just-
discussion on that part. We'll vote on,
Just to clarify,
yep.
so, I mean, I would be supporting this with the understanding that once we say yes to this, we're also going to consider
we're just, yeah, we're just.
having as a separate item the tennis
Well,
courts.
to be honest with you, I would amend this just so that it's got project 4 then too. It will keep it on there and then we still have discussion after the amendment. It would just get those 3 items back on just our discussion tonight, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
If that makes sense to the council, if that makes more sense, I would withdraw my
Okay,
previous amendment.
okay.
We
So your new amendment is to do projects 1, 2, and 4 being rebuild the tennis courts.
correct, and then we can have discussion from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
based on what all the input we've received and everything, it seems like what might be a viable path forward here would be for the outcome of this to be, there's 2 items on the ballot. The first one are project number 1 and 2 for $9.5 million, the high school expansion and the Narragansett HVAC. And then a separate item would be the $2.5 million for the tennis courts at the middle school. So that could be its own thing. There's some amount of debate regarding the tennis courts. So in my view, that would probably be a reasonable outcome from what we do here. So I don't know
okay.
what the
so-
most efficient way is to motion that or discuss
So
it.
he has an
but-
amendment on the floor. You need a second for the amendment. And,
I
all
would
right,
second
Ginny will second the amendment. Okay. And that's to include 1, 2, and 4.
Correct.
All right.
Does the passing of your amendment still allow for us to discuss Counselor Sims' idea of splitting?
Yes,
the
because you
Yes.
can amend it again.
You can amend it as many times as you want to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I wish there was a limit, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so the amended item is to remove all projects except for 1, 2, and 4. So we're just leaving those on there.
Correct.
Are you all set, Lori? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the amendment? All right, 7 yeas. Okay, now we're back to discussing the item as it's amended with 1, 2, and 4. If anybody would like to discuss that. Councilor Wilder Cross, you look like you want to say something.
I do, and I'm not even sure what I want to say. My big concern is that the schools definitely need these upgrades. And I worry that enough people that won't want to spend this much money, if they see it as a whole amount, might decide, well, it's just too much money. And it is a lot of money in my mind. I know that there's a very passionate group of people who would like to see those tennis courts survive this. And I'm wondering if maybe if we do have 2 separate items, as Councilor Sims is suggesting, maybe they will pass that way. And so I agree with Councilor Sims that That's not a bad idea, to have two separate bond referendum items.
Anyone making an amendment to do that, or?
Can we hear about the logistics from the town manager before we jump into an amendment to an amendment?
Thank you. So the logistics are tomorrow morning, the town clerk and I will be on the phone with the town attorney trying to get everything on the ballot by the end of the week. But what would be the most helpful is, depending on what the council wants to do, how you want them broken up and in what order. That's just what we need. And we take the dollar amount, we have the attorney write up the article based on your approvals. So if the intention of the council is to send to the voters projects 1, 2, and 4, which are high school cafeteria expansion, modular project, Narragansett HVAC, and the tennis courts, how do you want them broken up? 3 separate questions, lump the first 2 together with the tennis courts as the second question, and I need the order on the ballot. That's what we need to move it forward logistically. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone who wants to amend the item?
So are we amending it now to have 2 separate?
That would be the next step, if that's what I'm hearing from some of the councilors.
Right. I guess if you were going to make your amendment, I would ask that we do it in 2, only because if you break it out to 3,
Yeah.
I mean, a Narragansett HVAC doesn't even trigger referendum with that amount, so.
Good point.
I mean, I know we can put it on there, but I'd just keep those 2 combined would be my recommendation if I'm making any.
To keep the tennis courts and...
That if we're going to break it out, to keep project 1 and 2 and separate 4 as,
Separate ones. Yeah, I think that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Yes.
just then we talked about 3, so, yeah.
All right, town manager, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So based on your conversation, my recommendation would be to have an amendment that would send to the voters these 3 projects, 1, 2, and 4. 1 and 2 are grouped together as one question, although they will list the projects within that question and the dollar amounts. And the second question will be the tennis courts,
Yes. That's
Yes.
in that order. On the
yes, in that order.
And it will show who voted for what item.
Yep. Okay, so,
I've made that motion.
okay, you're making the motion to amend it.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Sims. All right, so discussion on the amendment of splitting it into 2 questions. Just for clarification, Lori, can you read project 1, just the description, not the dollar amount?
Yep, keep project number 1, the Gorham High School cafeteria expansion and modular phase, 1 addition, 6 classrooms, 1 adult ed bathrooms, utility room. And project number 2, Narragansett HVAC, grouped together as one question.
Okay, and the
And then
second question would be?
Second question would be project number 4, rebuild tennis courts and move to GMS site.
Okay, thank you. All right, any discussion on the amendment? I think we've kind of already talked about it. All right, all those in favor? 5 yeas, all those opposed? 2, myself and Gagnon. All right. Would anyone like the amended item read before we vote on the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And we get comment, right?
Yep. I just want to make sure everybody is clear on what we're voting on.
Order that the town council approve sending to the voters for the November 5th, 2024 election, a question authorizing the capital expenditure and bonding of funds pursuant to Section 901 of the Gorham Town Charter as follows. Project number 1, Gorham High School cafeteria expansion and modular phase, 1 addition, 6 classrooms, 1 adult ed bathrooms, utility rooms, $9,034,000. And project number 2, Narragansett HVAC system, $460,575, grouped together as one question. And then project 4 would be question 2, rebuild the tennis courts and move to Gorham Middle School site, $2,541,250.
All right, discussion on Go ahead.
Do we move that now?
We already did.
Okay.
Yep,
Moved,
yep,
so now we're
yep.
voting on the
Now we're
item if
voting
we-
on the whole item. Yep.
No.
Any discussion? Counselor Gagnon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We talk about sustainability and trying to move the town forward. I think it's irresponsible to place tennis courts where the CHA study that we spent good money on places the future elementary school if we were to get one. We talk about doing and being good stewards of people's money. This does not represent that, and by putting tennis courts on a site that we need to preserve for future expansion of our education system. I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Can we invite either Heather to talk about that?
Yep. You can ask Heather to come up
Heather
if you'd
or
like,
Tim.
if you have a question for her,
I guess through you to.
Yep.
to
Perhaps, yeah. What's the question?
Superintendent Perry. Is there enough, I've sat and observed a meeting where I believe you had said there is enough room for both. Can you explain or expand on that?
Yeah, first of all, it's important to understand that the CHA study was kind of just idea generating in nature. It was never intended to be, this is where the site would be, because if we do get a state approved project, there's a part of the process that requires almost a year-long study on where the school would be placed. That is not at all determined by any single person or group in the community. It's a whole community-wide study. Number two, when we do look at the site, if we did want to place an elementary school on that site, we have demonstrated that there is room for both to occur.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Through you to the superintendent. So, I guess, Heather, the design work that you did, was that professionally done?
The CHA study was a professional facilities study, yes. There was no professional drawings done of the sites.
So for the scale of the site where we moved it from a single floor elementary school to a stacked two-story elementary school, and then I made adjustments. I've seen the work, so I guess I don't see the merits in making a new school and working around a $2.5 million item. So I guess, how did you get your design work done, and who commissioned it?
The CHA study, number one, was not to scale. It's not a formal design drawing. Number two, when we asked, I believe it was Chuck from the municipal department to put together a draft of where that could be placed, that's exactly what he showed, that it could be done.
Could be done, but is it the best use? I guess that would
Again,
be
I
a
would say that
decision.
if we get an approved project, the state would go through a year-long process with us to determine where best to place the site.
Thank you, Heather.
Yep.
So, Madam Chair, I guess I would say, since we've done the work and we've seen it, and we had 3 counselors that are sitting here say that it was an insufficient use of the site, I'd find it shocking that now, miraculously, it would be a good use of the site. So, thank you.
Heather, I have a question, just for clarification for the
Yes, ma'am.
public.
Yes, please.
Because when we talked about this first time, and I've heard comments in the public about whether it's 4 courts, 5 courts, 6 courts, the plans you gave us for the site at the middle school is definitely for 6?
They are currently, what you see in the numbers that were presented to you previously and tonight are 6 courts.
Okay.
Yep.
Counselor Sims?
Yeah, a question, just, obviously 6 courts is the plan that was put together. I know there was a lot of thought put into all of that. Could you speak at all to, could 5 courts be sufficient? What would we be losing if we only had 5 courts instead of 6? Would that in any way help conserve a little bit more open space and perhaps save a little bit of money?
Yeah, I'll let Mr. Spear speak to the actual functionality of 5 courts, and then when he's done, I can share with you what the difference in cost estimated would be between 6 courts and 5 courts. Mr. Spear.
Again, thank you. Great question. Again, when we look at how we operate high school tennis, as well as the other folks that use our courts, USM and public. 5 would be the minimum that you're really looking if you're going to build a new site. As you know, currently we have 4, and that presents its challenges when you are hosting your matches. Not that it can't be done, but it does provide a few challenges. So 5 is the number. 5 is kind of that magic number. I think 6 in that space utilizes that space appropriately in that parameter. I think it also allows for community use that really benefits having that extra court. I do think when you have those, it also allows for the opportunity to host, whether it be state championship, regional championship, or community-based tennis events.
And in terms of the difference in cost, if you were to move from 6 to 5, we estimate that would be a reduction in the overall cost of approximately $165,000.
Thank you.
Counselor Siegel?
Thank you, Chair. This question for either of you here. How necessary is the lighting?
Mr. Spear, would you like to talk to
The
that?
lighting is a large portion of the cost, which is why I asked.
Again, I think the lighting piece gives you hours, gives you usage time. If you look at the rest of our athletic facilities, we have pretty much everything is lighted because, quite honestly, we have a lack of playing fields, so we have to use them extended hours of the day to get everything in. Is it imperative that they are lighted? I would say it's probably not imperative that it's lighted. Is it make it functional? Yes, I do think it makes it functional.
Norm would like to.
Norm Justice, Facilities Director. I would just add to the lighting question, when the courts were operational and we did have lighting, that was the #1 issue we'd hear from the public when they were not working, is that the tennis court lights aren't working. It was always a huge demand.
Because again, I think that part of that is that the only time that the general public can use the courts is when we're not using them, which is often in the evening or times like that.
Thank you. Any other questions for Heather? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm just going to say that I have gone back and forth. I have a lot of concerns about the recent election for the school budget and the message the taxpayers are sending there. It's different than in past years, and it's always hard to decide what and how things should go on the ballot. It's really hard to decide whether splitting the question, I was thinking that last month, now I'm thinking we shouldn't split the question. So it's one of those hard decisions, trying to get things accomplished and passed, to get things done with the school. And hopefully this doesn't leave us in a position where I guess the town council will be back talking to the school committee about how to fix some of these things that are like the HVAC system for Narragansett I really want to see taken care of. So it's just one of those hard questions. And it is going to be a dollar amount. Town manager, can we schedule the public hearing in October for this item? Okay. All right. Councilor Wilder-Cross?
If the worst happens and it doesn't pass, either of these, then the HVAC could be fixed without a referendum vote, correct?
If money grew on trees, yes, but
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be spent.
Yep, yeah, we wouldn't have to ask. Yep. It's below the threshold. No more discussion? All right, all those in favor? 5 yeas, all those opposed? Councilor Gagnon and myself.
Item 2024-9-7, action to consider approving applications from the Senior Property Tax Relief Program, administrator sponsored. Proposed order 24-122, order that the town council approve all qualifying applications from the Senior Property Tax Relief Program as reviewed and recommended by staff.
All right, is there a motion? Motion by Councilor Voy, is there a second?
Second.
Yep, second by Councilor Siegel. Town manager, or?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the council is familiar with this program. It's a rebate program a lot of municipalities use for seniors that are income and property value eligible. This year, the total refund's higher than budgeted, but we have contingencies, so if a year we don't use it all, we roll it over. $93,000